Hi and welcome back to the channel, where today I'm going to give you my long-term review of the 2024 rear-wheel drive Tesla Model 3. I'm going to take you through what's good, what could be improved, how you can improve it, and of course I'll talk about efficiency and what it's like to live with on a day-to-day basis. Stay tuned, I'll tell you all about it. Now, to explain the background of this car and me, this is my company car. So this was given to me back in May last year after I spec'd it at the beginning of the year. So I chose this glorious red and the white interior, which I'll tell you more about shortly. Now, as a company car, it's been fantastic for the simple reason that it is cheap. Electric cars in the UK attract a 2% benefit in kind tax rate as a company car. So this has cost me less than £30 a month. All in, which is obviously brilliant. Not many people get that luxury, I appreciate that, but I'll still give you an unbiased view. And I'm going to talk to you about this car as if I had paid the £43,000 that it would cost in this colour combination. So we'll start with the outside of the car. They say beauty is in the eye of the beholder. So of course, whether or not you think this is a pretty car is entirely down to you. Me personally, I think it looks lovely. I love the sharp line at the front, particularly this 2024 model with these improved headlights. I just think they look really, really smart. The lines itself, as you're looking down the car, it's a nice, smooth aerodynamic thing, which you'd expect from an electric car. I do like the fact that you've got frameless doors. I said I chose this paint colour. I absolutely adore this red. I can't deny the wheels, the wheel covers that come with this 24 model I quite like because they're black. But one of the things that I did as part of my YouTube channel and the various reviews I've done has been change these wheel covers. And I chose these turbine covers and I absolutely love them. I think they completely transform the look of the car. And so when I go back to my introduction, I mentioned I would make recommendations. I would suggest if you do get one of these, I would look at some of the wheel covers that are out there. There are so many fantastic choices. And I just think these look so sporty because it is a sporty looking car. At the end of the day, it's very low. When you're sat in this, you're about the same distance from the floor as you would be in a Porsche Boxster. It is a sporty, low-slung car, but it's still practical. You've got 5 good full-size seats. You've got a nice size boot, which we'll look at in a minute. And you've got basically just the convenience of a family car, but the looks of a sports car. Again, my opinion, I know, but that's genuinely what I think when I look at this. The lines at the back, I love these improved lights that they introduced in 2024. Again, I just think it looks a little bit sportier. Nice and clean down below. And of course, the glass roof, which I just don't think I would ever get bored of. The view is fantastic when you're in the car. There's always enough light, but it's tinted enough to not be imposing or particularly uncomfortable on a hot day. So externally, I think this car's really hard to fault. So let's look at some of the practicalities. If we go to the front here, so if I get my Tesla app out, and I will click the button. So really, really simple to open. It's either a button on the screen inside or you can use the app. And you've got plenty of space. Again, it's a really practical, usable space. It's amazing how many EVs, even the purpose-made ones where they haven't just taken a nice car and converted it, where they are literally EV from the ground up, somehow managed to not include a frunk. I find that bewildering. But in here, you've got loads of space. The only thing that's bigger, I think, is the Model Y. Goes a little bit deeper. But again, size-wise, it's everything you could need. It's just super, super useful. So I really like that. One thing I don't like, and I did install, but I've uninstalled it now, ready for the car to go back. But I did install a soft close that when you put the front down to there, it would then close automatically. Now, I'm back to having to give it a push, which may not seem like a big deal, but I've got to admit, if you do it enough, it does put a strain on your wrists. So not a big fan of that. And if we go around to the back, continuing the theme of practicality, if you click, you can either just push the button underneath, or if you stand near the car for 4 seconds, it will actually open the boot anyway. And inside, it's a really usable, practical space. You've got cubbies down there. You've got loads of space over there. Another cubby over there, because this is the rear-wheel drive, so there's no subwoofer there, which you maybe would get on the long-wheel drive. And then, as if that wasn't enough, you can lift this out of the way, where it just stores as you slide. And then you've got more space underneath. So essentially, Where, say, a conventional car would have a fuel tank, you can store yet more. Cables, shopping, whatever you like. We actually really liked it for shopping because it means you've only got so much space for bags to move around in, but you've still got all the space back there in the trunk. And you can, or boot, and you can, of course, drop the seats as well, because this is a versatile car. So if I get in the back and then just pull that little lever here, and you've got the practicality then of going all the way through. And if you get both seats down, you can actually put quite a lot of luggage in here. Now, jumping back into the car, if we go in the back, so the handles, which do take some getting used to, let's just touch on that for a moment. It's amazing how many people you pick up, and it doesn't matter how many times you tell them. So on this, by the way, when you are opening a Tesla door, push there with the thumb, grab the rest with your hand. So it is simple, but they are flush, so it's aerodynamic. But when we're talking about some of the challenges of the car, on an icy day, and there's been a few, and that is stuck, it's very difficult to do much about. Thankfully, there is an option in the app to open the car from just using the app, but it's still a bit of a pain having to. Now, on the inside of the car, it's a lovely finish. Now, obviously, this being the white one, this is kind of a white leatherette here. There's no actual leather. Tesla don't use leather in any of their cars. It is all animal-free. You've got your electric windows control here, and it goes down most of the way. Not the whole way, sadly, which is a bit of a shame, but can't be helped. And you've got quite a lot of storage, and it's carpeted. It's a nice quality finish in there. One of the speakers here, and this is your door release button. Again, often people inevitably look for a handle, and you do have to often tell them that you have to push that button and push to be able to get out. But once you get in, I jump on. Sat here, I have more than enough legroom. This is in the normal space in front, and I'm just a little bit under 6 foot tall. You've got storage space down there. It is that luggage style, so there's gaps at the bottom, which I don't really like, but at the same time, it's practical to be able to put some things in. Down here is your control panel for the, let's turn that off. You can turn off your air control back here, and when it's on, you can, so if I turn it back on, you can choose exactly where it's pointing. So, you know, if you're sat and you want it to blow in your face, then you choose that and it will blow in your face. So we'll turn that off. You can also control the volume, and you can change the stereo controls back here. And it also gives you a little bit of control over the passenger seat, but only the passenger seat. If I push forward there, then it moves that seat forward and just gives you a bit more room. But then, of course, you can put it back. If somebody sat in that, by the way, that doesn't work, so therefore you're not going to annoy that passenger in the front. Down below, you've got a couple of USB-Cs, and this is the air vent that then dictates the air that's coming at you. You've also got heated seats, which are controllable back here. It's just the outer seats, it's not the inner seat. But to be fair, nobody's going to spend too much time on the inner seat anyway. And then in the actual area, you've got this lighting strip that goes right the way around the car, and it continues into back here, which is really smart. You have, of course, got the glass roof above you. You've got a reading light for each of the rear side passengers, which you just activate by touching, or of course when you open the door. And when you're hanging your coat, then you can do it on this, which is quite cool. It's actually really hard to use because you have to hook right over, but it does stop it falling off. There's not much else to look at here, but you do get, in this new and improved 24-25 version, a much better armrest. So it's the full seat. So when you pull that down, it's a much longer armrest. So unlike the previous generation, you can put your arm without actually putting your hand into the armrest, which was definitely a problem on the previous one because it was quite short. So this is much more practical. You can have your drinks there and still use the full armrest. So the back of the car is genuinely a very comfortable place to be. Now, undeniably, you have to bear in mind that the batteries are in the floor. So the other thing to look at here, of course, is if I put my feet under the seat, there's still a gap underneath. It's not much, but it is there. There are cars where that is much, much worse. You've got 5 seat belts, so 3 in the back, 2 in the front. So you can carry 3 people back here quite comfortably. I did show in one of my practicality videos last year about putting children's seats in here, and there's more than enough room. It's a really versatile space. But let's move to the front. Now, sitting in the front of the Model 3, you are struck by the fact it's a nice big windscreen. So when your vision, when you take into account just how much you can see, your vision of the road and the sky and just everything around you, it's really good. The pillars aren't too wide, so visibility is not a problem, and you've got nice big mirrors that aren't too far back or too far forward. They're just right for you to be able to glance and get a really good idea about what's going on around you. Obviously, one thing that is missing, and unless you've been living under a rock, you're probably aware of this, there is, of course, no dashboard. Tesla Model 3s and Model Ys don't have dashboards. The X and the S actually do, but yeah, they don't put them in this car. Steering wheel in the 2024 model, I think, is lovely. It's a really nice finish. It is quite a step up from the previous one. It feels, I can't even describe it. It feels like the cleanest leather. There's nothing glossy about it. It's grippy, it's firm, it's lovely. And of course, a lot of your controls are on here as well, which again, probably quite well known with regards to Tesla Model 3 that came out last year. So this model is, of course, the indicators and the lights, and all the things that were on stalks previously have moved onto the steering wheel. So this is your indicate right, this is your indicate left, this is how you flash your lights, so if you or to turn on your full beam. This is your volume control and turn your stereo on and off, and you can push it to the side, either side, to be able to go onto the next track or onto the next station. And then over on the right, you have a button for your cameras. So when you press that, it will turn on all the cameras around the car, which I've got to admit, I think is a great function. And then the autopilot, so the adaptive cruise control, Tesla's own, is operated by this. So you tap it to activate it, double tap it to include steering, and then you can turn the speed up and down just by rolling it up, and the distance from the cars in front by going left and right. So it's dead easy to use. That's the button for obviously doing one little blast of your windscreen wipers, and if you hold your finger on it, it will squirt, and that one is the voice activation. But you may notice in this car, I do have stalks. So I recently installed these sexy stalks from Enhance Auto. My personal view, having said nearly 12 months in this car, buy the stalks. The rest of the car is absolutely worth paying for the upgrade. But I've got to admit, the functionality of stalks and being forced to use the buttons to indicate has been an irritation every step of the way. So now I've got these in, and I've got the full functionality back, and then a little bit more, because you can program them to do other things. I think that is absolutely brilliant, and I would totally recommend it. But beyond the stalks, I think the finishing here is lovely. You've got this light beam that goes right the way around the car, right the way around the inside, if you can see there. It's illustrated blue at the moment. And then in this, because it's the white interior, you've got this lovely, and it's kind of felt finish. And it's really nice. It just feels luxurious in here. Up above, you have your auto-dimming rear-view mirror. You've got a little camera. All the Teslas have got that now. So you can, on the app, see what's happening inside the car when you're not here. So you can just check that if anybody's breaking in, you can watch them do it. And then up here, you have your reading lights for the front passengers, your hazard button. But crucially, you also have the backup for if the screen fails, to be able to put it into gear. So you've got PRN and D up there, and all you do is you put your foot on the brake. If I just illustrate and then press D, and I'm in drive. And it's moving my seat to how I like it right now, or I can put it back to P, and then the car is parked and in neutral. So really, really cool that you've got the backup up there should the screen fail. Now, the screen itself is a very impressive piece of kit. There's no two ways about it. It's a beautiful size. I love the landscape finish. I've gotten really used to that. You've got the full visibility of the car here, and then you can swipe it over, and then you've got, or you can look around the car. You can swipe that over, and then you've got Google Maps, which is brilliant. And when you're planning any navigation or any journeys, obviously the fact you've got Google Maps means you've got this beautiful color image. It's really high resolution. It's super clear, and of course, it's big. And yes, you can talk about the fact that it's off to the side, but to be fair, any car sat-nav typically is there, with some higher-end cars that would have maybe some extra information there. But honestly, being able to glance to the left instead of down, because at the end of the day, you're always taking your eyes off the road, whether it's down or the left, is of little consequence. Likewise, your speed will appear here. So if I put it into D, you'll see, and if I just roll forward slightly, there you go. So the speed appears there. And again, it's of little consequence versus there or there. Do not get bogged down on the notion that not having a dashboard is an issue. It really, really isn't. Now, while we're at the screen, you can see all sorts on here. You can see the temperature, you can see the time. I'm due a software download. You can see which mode it's in, because you can choose which driver mode, and it will put the seat and the steering wheel and the wing mirrors exactly how you like them. I can see that it's got 44%, which equates to 118 miles. We'll talk about that in a moment. You can see what gear you're in, and you can see it's currently in chill mode. You can't change that by pushing on here. You do have to go into the menu. But if we go into the menu, This is where I'll show you some of the interesting stuff. Now, everything is controlled on this because you have no other buttons other than what's on the wheel and then this screen. So if you want to change anything, it's on here. Whether it's folding your mirrors, the child lock's on, which form of light you're on, opening the glove box, you've got to push that. Clearly, I've just crammed stuff in there. Apologies. Whether what you want to adjust the mirrors, if you want to adjust the steering, if you want to put it in Sentry mode, everything, your dynamics, your charging patterns, autopilot specs, everything is on this screen, which is fine. You've just got to get used to that. But let's go to what you will probably be interested in seeing if you're watching this. That means you're probably considering a Tesla. So in which case, let's go to trips. So what have we achieved? So the car, as I said, has done 7,125 miles. Now in that whole time, it's averaged 233 watt hours per mile. Now that equates to more than 4 miles per kilowatt hour, which is brilliant. I've got to admit, I'm delighted with the economy I've had of this thing. And it's had a mix. It's been on the motorway or the highway. It's been on A roads. It's been on country roads. It's been all over the show. It's been sat in many a traffic jam. So to get an average of more than 4 miles per kilowatt hour, I think is absolutely superb. I'm thrilled with the economy of it. There aren't many electric cars that do better than that. So I can't recommend it enough in that sense. Really, really good. So beyond that, let's put that screen down. Let's look around in here as well. So we've got the steering wheel. We've talked about that. Down here, you've got full window controls. You've got your door open button. You've got a backup door open button. So if the electrics fail, you can pull that and it will open the door. But the car will tell you off for using the manual release. So that is just in emergency. There's absolutely nothing down there. You've got a decent sized pocket. I've got a case for my Ray-Ban Metas down there, and that's not a small case, and you can easily put a bottle in there because it's slightly rounder, so you can put your drinks down there. Down there, nothing to report, except there are, of course, 2 pedals because it's an automatic, like pretty much every electric car. And then down here, you have your phone chargers. Now, these are felt. It's a really, really lovely finish, and there's kind of leatherette around it. When you put your phones on it, they charge quite quickly, quite effectively. They can get a bit hot. I have learned that from experience. So when they are fully charged, maybe consider flipping them over. Plus, they're less distracting, if I'm honest. I wish in the last generation you could fold down a lid here, like the first generation. Fold a lid so you couldn't see the phone. I miss that because I like the fact that it didn't distract me because I couldn't see it. Now down here, this is the first of your storage areas, and this is massive. I mean, I've got a couple of glasses cases in there. There is a 12-volt kind of traditional cigarette lighter type charger down there as well. And this all hides away. There are accessories you can buy. I did have an accessory in here. I've taken it out now, which was a tray. Oh, actually, no, it's still there. There you go. There's a tray that can slide along. That's available from Amazon. If you're interested in that, I'll put the link in the description. But that actually makes this space for me considerably more practical. So you can actually hide things below as well. If anybody broke in, then they wouldn't even think to look below, I don't think. And then when you close that, next one back is the cup holders. Now again, this generation is the first one to have covered cup holders. I think it makes a massive difference. It just makes the car feel more premium, like the little chrome trim. It just makes a difference. And in here, unlike the earlier ones, you've got these little rubber nibs around the side, which adjust to the size of whatever drink you put in. So if you put a small drink in, they will hold it in place. And if you've got a larger drink, they compress and allow it to go, which means you don't have rattly drinks because it's all rubberized as well. Again, massive step forward versus the first generation. And then under the armrest, you have the other storage area. Now, again, I've bought a tray, again, available on Amazon. I'll put the link below. But if you get that, it's just a nice place to be able to store your bits. If you take it out of the way, you've got loads more space under there. And again, you know, to give you an idea, there's a bottle of perfume and just a windscreen wipe. And there's still so much space. Interesting back here as well is that, I don't know if you can see it, there's a little USB-C there. That is a really important asset because that particular USB-C can charge at up to 60 watts, which means you can connect your iPad or even a laptop in here and it will fully charge it as if it was plugged into the mains at home, which I think is a massive plus. And now we step onto the seats. So if we just get this dog lead plugging out of the way. Now, I think they're really, really good looking seats. They're really, really ergonomical. They're shaped nicely around you. This is nice and solid, so you are supported when you sat in it. The vented finish, I really, really like. I think it's, again, just looks a bit more premium. But what you can probably see on this is, of course, I chose the white ones, and they have all sorts of marks all over them. And I have wiped these with antibacterial wipes, with slightly bleachy wipes, and you can get some of it off, but it gets dirty again so quickly. So I'm a bit torn on the white interior. On the one hand, I think it looks beautiful. I mean, look at it in the back. It's just so luxurious looking. And black is just so nondescript. But you have to bear in mind, you are going to be cleaning it fairly often. And that's probably, not ideal if you've got young kids in here, because they will make a mess. And of course, because it's perforated, it means that if dirt does get on here, it doesn't just sit on top, it gets in the holes, which makes it even harder to clean. But anyway, the reason it's perforated is if I go back to the screen here, I can go to seats. And if I choose the front, I can choose to either auto, heat it, or cool. And cool, again, is a functionality that wasn't on the last generation, or the one I had, which was a first gen, actually, because strictly speaking, this is generation 3. So you can heat or cool both the front seats and the back just heat, they don't cool. And that's a nice touch, and it really does work. I've got to give credit where it's due. It genuinely is really effective on a hot day. Because if you don't have that, and again, the previous generations didn't have that cooling factor, when you get in, because it's not leather, it's not breathing, it is just plasticky, it can often feel like when you sit on a really sticky office chair on a hot sunny day, and that's not a good feeling. And Tesla have totally fixed that with the vented seats. Totally and utterly worth it. Whether they're white or black, that upgrade is something to be exceptionally appreciative of. It's made all the difference for me. And so, I know I know it's a mess, so I'm ashamed to show you, but when you do open the glove box, which is magnetic, and there's all sorts of sun creams and contact lenses and all sorts of napkins, it's not too big, it's deepish, you can get enough in there. I've largely stuffed everything in there so it looked nice on this video, and then completely undone that hard work by showing it you. But it is a useful space, but you're only getting in there, and you hear that loud click. Let me do it again, because it is magnetic, so when you close it, it really grabs it, and it is solid. So essentially, just pushing the button on the control menu here will open it, and in there also is a USB-A where the car should come with. If you're buying a used one of these, then please challenge whoever you're buying off, because they should be including the Tesla memory stick that is in the USB-A in the glove box, because that links in with your Sentry and your dash cam. So you'll need a memory stick in there so that it can record any events that happen to the car while you're not in it, or any events that happen to the car while you are in it and while you're driving, and those insights are super useful. And that is the inside of my Tesla Model 3. And on the whole, if I was to kind of summarize my thoughts on it, I mean, I like it. There's no two ways about it. It's a lovely place to be. I've spent a lot of hours sat in this car, and it just feels good. It feels good to be sat in the seat. It's a comfortable seat. The challenge I've had, and one of the reasons why, unfortunately, after just 11 months, this car is now leaving me, although I plan to keep it for 4 years as part of my company car scheme, is unfortunately I had a motorcycle accident towards the end of last year, and I broke 13 bones, including 8 ribs at the back. Which unfortunately means when I get in and out of this car, it can prove a little bit uncomfortable, particularly if there's a car parked alongside me and this door doesn't open too far. Then I'm having to really twist and turn, because remember, if you have any back problems, like I said before, this car is almost as low as a Porsche. It is a very low car to get in and out of. It's great when you're in. It is comfortable. I wish there was maybe a little bit more support under here, because there is absolutely none. You can't extend this. And I do miss that, because quite a few of my previous cars have had it. But it is a comfortable driving position. But just bear in mind, if you have a bad back, this might not be the car for you. Maybe a Model Y would be better. Or if you've got a bit more money, a Model X. Provided you don't mind it being left-hand drive. Which is fine if you're in the States. Not so great here. But yeah, on the whole, I really like it. But it's time to drive. So I've told you it looks good. I've told you it's practical. Particularly looks good in red, although the pearlescent white, which is free, also looks great. And the red is £2,000. So you've got to really like it. Is the white worth the extra £1,000? I'll let you decide. It's beautiful to look at. Just requires a little bit more maintenance. But anyway, so to put this into drive, you put your foot on the brake, and it actually will automatically put it into D if there's stuff behind you. Or you put your foot on the brake and then simply swipe up on the screen. Now, bear in mind, there's no power button. You don't have to turn anything on. You literally get in and just put it into D and you're good to go. There's no handbrake or anything to disengage at all. So I put it into D, and now I can just press the accelerator. Now, performance-wise, this is the standard range. So it's the rear-wheel drive model, which means it's quick enough. It's not going to break any land speed records. This particular one will do 0 to 60 in 5.8 seconds. Now, one of the reasons for that is because the previous generation, for example, was actually quicker. That would do 0 to 60 in 5.3. Whereas what they've done on this car is move it a little bit more towards efficiency than performance. And honestly, 5.8 is fine. In fact, it's hot hatch territory. In fact, 20 years ago, it's supercar territory. So there's nothing to worry about with regards to performance. And crucially, 0 to 60 isn't actually all that important, because unless you're showing off at lights, which obviously I would never condone you doing, but you may well find yourself doing because people are attracted to seeing just how fast a Tesla is. But 0 to 60 is a meaningless measure. What's interesting is more like 30 to 70. When you're joining a dual carriageway or a motorway and you need to get your speed up relatively quickly, that's when it's at its best, because that 30 to 70 speed is fantastic. It's just all torque, like any electric car. It's just all torque, because it will just put that power down straight away and get you to where you need to be quickly, which is fantastic. So I can't argue with the performance. Suspension-wise, it's much improved in this model versus the previous ones. So I said my previous Teslas were a 2020 Tesla Model 3 rear-wheel drive, and then a four-wheel drive, but there was still a 2020 model. And the difference between that and this is quite significant. The suspension in this is much more comfortable. It's still solid, but at the same time not unpleasantly so. It's just a comfortable car. In terms of the response with regard to steering, can you really enjoy the drive? I really think yes. Now, as a rear-wheel drive car, you would expect there to be a little bit more of a playful element, perhaps, when you're giving it someone to a corner, but it just sticks. Even with just the rear-wheel drive, if you go onto a slip road to join a motorway or a highway or wherever you find yourself where it's a bit of a corner, and you apply just a little bit more throttle than maybe, maybe somebody would suggest you do, just to see what the car can do, it will be glued to the ground. It's incredible. Seriously, it's nothing short of remarkable. I had the four-wheel drive version, and I got used to very quickly taking corners, knowing that the car could deal with pretty much everything. So getting back into this rear-wheel drive version, I thought I'd have to kind of adapt my driving to accommodate the fact that it wouldn't have quite the level of grip. It does. I honestly don't think it's compromised at all in comparison to the rear-wheel drive version. It's quite spectacular. So we're coming to a roundabout here, so nice and clear, and if I go about a red light, so I'm going to have to stop here anyway. But if I go into any kind of driving situation like this, where I'm out and about in amongst traffic, the car doesn't feel very big either. And don't get me wrong, it actually is. Dimensionally, it's not a small car, which is reflected in the space you get inside. But it doesn't feel like a big car when you're driving it. It actually feels quite compact, which again, I think is a real plus for it. So this road is a 50, so if I accelerate up to 50, what I can do here is if I touch the adaptive cruise, and I'll double tap it, what the car will do now, and I'll keep my hands on the wheel, of course, is it knows the speed limit's 50 miles an hour, because one, Google tells it, but two, the cameras, of which there's about 3 up here, can see the actual speed limit sign. So the car knows it's 50. So when I turn on the autopilot, it sets my speed at 50, and the car is now maintaining it. The autopilot is keeping me smack bang in the middle of the lane, and it is exceptionally effective at doing that. I've got to admit, even on some twisty roads, autopilot is really good at keeping you exactly in the middle. And it does make your life a lot easier. If you drive a lot on the motorway or the highway, where you are perhaps in stop-start traffic and you are just sat in a lane for hours on end, autopilot is brilliant. And it's free. It's standard in every single car. You can pay to upgrade it, in which case you will have extra functionality, but the basic version is actually included. Though I would recommend, and I know I said before that I would mention things that I would suggest you do, going back to Enhance Auto, the guys who make the stalks, for the stalks to work, you have to install something called the Commander Unit. Now, the stalks in the Commander Unit, I think, are about €350, I think. And you could argue that you shouldn't have to pay it because it should come with stalks, but it doesn't. So it is what it is. But the Commander Unit is exceptional because it adds loads of additional functionality to the car. If you watch one of my previous videos, because I've done a couple on it, particularly the last one, which is on the stalks, go and watch that, learn more about it. But that is worth adding to your car. It will enhance your Model 3 or Model Y or any of the Teslas, but particularly the 3, because that's my experience. It is game-changingly different. It's such an improvement, including things like autopilot, like re-engaging it after you've changed lanes. It's very cool. So what else is there to add? I don't think there is much else. It's a pleasure to drive. It's quick enough. It's super economical, a big plus. Oh, actually, the other thing to mention, of course, is Tesla have the supercharger network, and none of the other manufacturers have anything directly comparable. There are an array of companies that offer charging for EVs. Of course there are. It's quite a competitive market. But the superchargers that Tesla provide, which aren't all exclusive to Tesla anymore, there are other manufacturers can use some of them, though they pay more for it, is genuinely the best in the industry. When you pull in, there's no work because the app knows your car. So as soon as you plug, this is working on the assumption you've got a credit card assigned to it. As soon as you plug your car into the supercharger, it knows it's your car, it checks this payment, and it starts charging. That's it. All happens in seconds. And there's no work from you, there's no tapping a card, there's no swiping. You literally just plug it in and then let it do its thing. You can choose the charge you want, go get yourself a coffee, and then when you get back, the car is good to go. Supercharger network, absolutely fantastic. And they are all over the show. I had friends who had a Model X that they bought quite a few years ago, and at that point, you got free supercharging for life, which is pretty cool. And they managed to tour the entirety of Europe without spending a penny on charging. All of it was done just by going from supercharger to supercharger to supercharger. That gives you an idea and why you should feel reassured about the number that are out there. It's a brilliant, brilliant network. And with that, I guess I will leave you alone. My time in this car literally comes to an end this week. I am getting a company Volvo XC40, so the twin, so the all-electric, motor on each axle, 408 brake horsepower. Quite intrigued to see what that's like. That's coming this week, and this is going. So I'll be super sad to see this go. I look forward to telling you about the Volvo. It is the only car that's in our work pool that is tall enough for me to not be in pain when I'm getting in and out of it. So yeah, it is. It's my choice of one. But as it happens, it's a really lovely car. So I'm quite looking forward to spending some time in it. But I will sadly miss this. I hope this has been really useful for you if you are considering a Tesla. Last thing to ask you, if you are thinking of buying one, I have a referral code, as does anybody with a Tesla, and you're not obliged to use it, I'm just asking you nicely. If you're considering buying one and you found any of my videos useful, please use the link. It's in the description below. It saves you £500 off the cost of a new Tesla. And it gives me a £250 Tesla credit that I can use at Tesla superchargers, albeit not all of them because I'll be in a Volvo, but it will still work at some of them. So I would appreciate your support if you're happy to do so. As I said, the code is below. So thanks so much for watching. I'm going to concentrate back on the road, and I will hopefully see you on future videos, whether it's about Volvos or anything else. In the meantime, you take care. Thank you.